What's up guys, we're hopping back on the Buick Enclave. As you can see in the last video, a lot of work got done. Right now, this vehicle is going to get sent to the frame shop. Everything up front is going to get taken care of. We're going to receive it and continue some more work. Alright guys, now as you can see the setup, the vehicle is currently on the frame machine. It's getting pulled on all four corners because there's a lot of sway in the front end right now. But these guys are excellent. I've been working with them for over a decade and they know their stuff. Obviously, like I said, both frame rails are going to be replaced, the apron, upper support. A lot of expensive parts are going to go on this vehicle. We're going to keep working at this. Very soon this vehicle is going to be back home where we can start putting things back together. You can see we're currently fitting the left side frame rail. That's the original one that came off the vehicle, and that's the replacement one. We're gonna start working on that one right away. Lots of work, not enough time to making videos, but I'm gonna just keep updating you guys with short clips like this so you guys know what's going on. Currently working on this side to remove this frame rail from the body of the vehicle and get the new one in. We're prepping the strut tower too for the upper rails to come in. We did also confirm that the subframe is actually bad, so I am waiting for a used subframe I ordered to get delivered because we're going to need to transfer everything on here to the replacement subframe. This is not good to go back on the vehicle. Like I mentioned before, we have the upper rail and the strut tower with the extension with the apron over there. So lots of parts, lots of work going on here, guys. I can't wait to start putting this together. And guys, as you can see, everything is now off the vehicle. There's no frame rails, no nothing. We have everything ready to go back in. All the metal is being prepped right now. Left frame rail or the right frame rail over here. And then we have the left one over here and all the other pieces that needs to go in. And then we can start installing all the new structure.
A few moments later.
Alrighty guys, it's another day and as you can see, I'm hopping back on this Buick Enclave. We just got it back from the frame shop. This was gone for a very long time because obviously it needed quite a bit of repairs. A very expensive build, but that's the way this goes sometimes. Sometimes you win some, sometimes still winning for sure. But let me show what I'm working with right now. It's now in the garage. I just popped open the hood. So brand new hood. Brand new left and right fenders because those were obviously damaged. Brand new completely front frame assembly, and I was able to pick up a used subframe because that was very expensive brand new, and I locked out from 2018 up to 2025. They're all the same thing, so I got one. Super happy about that. But as you can see, everything is now painted, so now it's time to go ahead and prep all of these components for paints, get it painted so we can start installing the engine. That's been sitting over there for a minute in the vehicle. To further protect this vehicle, because I live in a place where it snows and there's a bunch of rust, it's just not fun. I've also picked up a special kind of paint, so to say, that I'm going to apply to the subframe because the subframe tends to rust out way quicker than anything on the vehicle. I'm obviously going to be removing the subframe to install the engine, so I'm for sure going to be throwing some paint on that. See, it's a used one and it already has some rust on it, same as in there. So I'm going to try to take care of that with that spray. I'm gonna remove all these pieces, headlights, both side fenders, and then I'm gonna start scuffing up all these parts that needs to get paint, and then we're gonna throw paint on it. So I'm gonna jump right to it. As you can see, I have both fenders off the vehicle. Go back over here, you can see all the areas that needs to be painted. This is well through primer, so that's good. Some other corrosion protectants. All of this black goo in there is also corrosion protectant. So I'm not sure I'm going to spray that just yet. It depends on how much paint I have left. But All these major areas would need seam sealer and all that fun stuff. Same as this other side again. So paint and seam sealer and all the joints. And same thing over here too. With everything fully sanded now, I'm gonna go ahead and pull both front wheels so I can drop the subframe and start spraying in the main frame. As you can see, guys, the front crash bar is removed. The lower tie bar for the rad is removed. I've also dropped the subframe in the front and the rear, but I forgot one key component, and that's disconnecting the steering shaft. I've spent 5 minutes trying to figure out why it's not dropping until it's right in front of me, but I completely missed it. But now I have to go into the vehicle and disconnect the steering shaft so I can be able to drop that subframe assembly. So obviously the steering rack is still mounted on the subframe. So let's get that done. Then I'm gonna go ahead and remove the subframe and we can get to painting. And now, guys, as you can see, the subframe is now out of the vehicle. I have it sitting right over there. So now, obviously, I've sanded this. I just have to clean it, apply a seam sealer, and then I can start painting. But over here on this one, this would require a little bit more preparation. If you recall, like I said, I had to get a used one because the original one was slightly tweaked and they could not work with that one. So I picked up a used one and there's lots of rust. I have to clean this up, spray it separately, obviously, because it's going to be black and this is going to have that kind of gray that this currently has. And then we can reassemble everything. And just like that, guys, as you can see, we're all glued up. Well, seam sealer. I have it applied at all the specified location. Really good stuff. Went on pretty good. Almost OEM finish. Almost OEM. But as you can see, everything is good. Just need to let it cure. And then we can start painting. I can't wait to actually have this thing looking one color. Without much more talking, let's fast forward to painting time. So it's been a little bit, and now when I touch the seam sealer, nothing. So we're ready to start spraying paints. So now I have my paint over here. I'm just being way too lazy. I did not want to get paint in a can because I forgot to wash my paint gun the last time I used it. So it would take me far too long to clean out the paint gun. So I figured I have the paint mixed in here with the hardener, clear coat and everything. So this is going to give you the exact same kind of finish when you shoot paint from a paint gun pretty much, just without the hassle of cleaning up the paint gun afterwards. So I'm going to continue shaking this up and then we're going to start throwing paint. And guys, just like that, as you can see, we have the right side of the engine bay all painted in. Haven't touched the left side just yet. But look at that, looks almost OEM. Again, this tends to not come fully painted from the factory, just so you guys know. It's just pretty much primed and then roughed in and it's sent on its way. So looks much better than what it did originally. So while this is curing, I'm gonna go ahead and start spraying this side and obviously the upper tie bar. I'm not gonna be painting the crash bar, no real need to do that. And then we can start slapping things together. Alright guys, and there you have it. As you can see, I have completely painted the engine bay, and I have to say, without a doubt, it looks much better than OEM. The paint match was 100%, everything is covered. I'm just super happy about that. Now, before I can start reinstalling things, I gotta figure out why the transmission will not shift. If you do recall earlier in this build, I was attempting to remove this vehicle into the garage and it would not shift for some reason. I did install a new transmission cover. It's quite possible that I might have knocked something out of place when doing that. I'm not sure. So I'm going to go ahead and open the transmission up, take a look at it. If I'm satisfied with what I see, then I might close it up, reinstall it, see if it fixes it itself. If it doesn't, then we might need to do some more diagnosing after that. But first, let's open up the transmission and see what it looks like in there. Alright guys, it was a bit of a battle getting this engine assembly in this position. The goal is because I'm about to pop off this cover and I'm trying to prevent having to drain the transmission fluid. So I'm trying to minimize or pretty much expect that no transmission fluid leaks this way because the engine is completely tilted that way. But as you can see, this engine mount is also cracked. I believe I pointed this out before, up there and down over there. I have a new one to go over there. Obviously, the one on this side is also damaged. So I have another one because there are four. There's one over here, one on the right side, and one in the back. So I have two replacement engine and transmission mounts that's going to go over here. But first, I'm going to pop this cover off and see what we're looking like inside. So what you've seen me basically do is test resistance on all the solenoids. I've tested every single thing and taking into account the temperature difference, everything appears to be okay. So I'm still puzzled why this thing would not shift when we're trying to bring it into the garage. Makes absolutely no sense. There's a whole bunch of solenoids over here. There's another motor back there that I tested. Everything is okay. I was obviously able to find the specifications and that's how I was able to test this transmission. So my goal right now is to throw the cover back on, seal it up, and I hope that when we put this back together, it should shift properly. Because if it doesn't, I'm out of ideas. And now guys, with everything closed back up and secured over in the transmission area, I'm gonna go ahead and replace this front engine mount. I have a brand new one I picked up from the dealership and it's over here in this box. We also have both roof airbags because it was obviously deployed. And here's that brand new transmission mount. So let's pop it on that engine assembly. Now that I have the brand new engine mount in place, the old one is over there, it's time to start prepping the engine bay for things to start going back in. Before I install the engine assembly, the AC lines has to go back in, the ABS module and all that fancy stuff. So there's quite a bit of stuff that needs to go back in before I throw in the engine. So let's get that going first and see exactly what else we have to do. Now, as you can see, I have started to put things back in place. The HVAC line or the AC line is now fully secured. I had to clean up those O-rings and apply some lubrication to it so there's not going to be any leak. Fingers crossed. Over here, the ABS module, all the lines are routed, secured. I've also topped up the reservoir. Also, obviously, we're going to need to bleed that, but that's going to be much later. I've routed all the harness. This goes to the fuse box. We have the ECU and a whole bunch of grounds fully secured. So lots of big progress at this point. I don't believe there's anything else for us to do in here except putting the engine assembly back in. But before I can do that, I have to go ahead and mate the engine assembly to the subframe assembly. I also picked up a brand new control arm because the one on the left side, which is the driver's side, was also damaged in the accident. So I'm going to install the brand new control arm on that subframe, then install the engine assembly onto the subframe, and then that whole thing can go back in this engine compartment. So over in that box is the brand new control arm, like I just mentioned. That's going to be replacing this one because, as you can see, this is not fully secured, or it's not secured in the right position anymore. And again, this is a brand new vehicle. I'm not looking to cheap out on anything. So that's why I've purchased a brand new OEM control arm to replace this one. Okay, damaged control arm is off. Looking at both control arms, I don't see anything wrong with this one. I know it's slightly tweaked over there, like that bushing is not fully seated, but everything appears to be straight. But again, like I said, it's not worth running risk. I have the subframe out right now, so this is the best time to replace it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this brand new beauty and toss it on the subframe. Alrighty guys, as you can see, it was a mission getting the engine to be lined up on the subframe. That took way longer than I expected. Big thanks to my brother-in-law for helping me out over there because I'm not sure I could have been able to do it myself. But now I'm looking to put the whole assembly in the engine bay. Hopefully that goes smoother than the other process because that was a pain. I have also double checked and triple checked everything in there, so that's okay. Now it's time for this big old beast to go in its cave, so to say. Fingers crossed everything goes much smoother. That would be perfect this night. Alright guys, now as you can see, the engine is now in the engine bay. I have it pretty much loosely fitted. All the bolts at the lower subframe is all secured. I'm about to start installing the engine mounts. This is the one for the right side. There's a new one for the left side because that was also damaged. So I'm going to throw that in. So I'm going to start from over here, lower the engine because it's still being secured by the hoist. Lower it in. This space is going to fill up real quickly, and then I can start throwing the engine mounts in. And guys, now the engine mount on this side is fully secured. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing for this side. But like I mentioned, that one is damaged. You can see this big old crack in it from the accident. I have a brand new one in the box. You can clearly see the difference. There's a big chunk missing out in here. And this one is all okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss the brand new one. Move this bracket, secure it here, and we can throw it on the vehicle. With things looking slightly much better up front here, I'm going to go ahead and perform the nasty task of installing the exhaust manifold under the vehicle and the drive shaft. As you can see, I'm currently running that Bluetooth drive shaft. Let's go ahead and fix that and install the exhaust while we're at it. It's a bit difficult to get this on video, but I'll show you the end result when it's all done. And yeah guys, as you can see, exhaust is installed, drive shaft is also secured. Can't really see it, but up in there the drive shaft is also secured. So we're pretty much good underneath right now, except the suspension. For now I have completely secured the exhaust manifold, drive shaft, O2 sensors, everything is all good over there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and secure the suspension on both sides because everything is just loosely fitted. The axle, control arm, up, everything is just loosely fitted in there. I'm gonna secure everything. I can possibly pop the wheels back on at that point, lower the vehicle so it's easy for me to get all the way back in there and make the necessary connections I need to. And we're making, there's still a whole bunch of stuff to be connected up in here, obviously, as you can see, but we're making really good progress. So let's bring out the big gun and get to securing the suspension components. All the coolant hoses for the HVAC is now fully secured to the auxiliary pump over here and to the engine and obviously to the coolant reservoir. So that's really good. The fuel lines that go from the fuel tank underneath the vehicle is now connected, the high pressure and the lower one. So that's all good. I've also gone ahead and secure the grounds that were in this area. Now I'm going to start hooking up or securing the fuse box. This obviously goes to the fuse box underneath. So I need to open this up, secure it, and then mount the fuse box in place and then start figuring out more wiring because there's obviously more grounds that needs to be connected. So this is the tricky part about removing and installing an engine. You want to take your time so you do not miss anything because it would be a pain to backtrack and figure out where you went wrong. So you need to pretty much account for everything. That's what I'm trying to get done today. Now the fuse box is fully secured. I just need to pop in the cover. First you gotta lock the stab in like so. Almost sounds like you're breaking something, but it's good to go. And cover goes on. So that baby's fully secured now. We still have a whole bunch of harnesses that needs to be secured. The main connector from the dashboard to the engine compartment is also connected and secured down here. So we're just gonna keep going, keep connecting stuff because there is quite a bit of stuff to go on. And again, like I say, the small details cannot be missed because if not, you're going to spend so much time backtracking, trying to figure out where you went wrong. But I'm super happy with the progress I'm making over here. And I'm going to keep connecting stuff till there's almost no connector to connect pretty much. And guys, that's a wrap for today's video. As you can see, a lot of work got done on the Buick Enclave. In the next video, I'm hoping to have more parts in for this vehicle, even though we have thrown quite a bit of parts on it as it is. A lot of structural pieces that is very important to make sure this repair is done right has been put on this vehicle. So I'm super happy about that. The engine was removed, it's back in. Lots of work to get all of that done. So in the next video, I'm hoping to have more parts thrown on the vehicle, like I said, and hopefully get our first start in. So on that note, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.